Welcome, fishy fiction fanatics, to the most heartbreaking story we have ever told. Tonight, we dissect the unthinkable, the fictional, shocking moment when the sunshine, the heart, the eternal hope of a global movement decided to step away. This is the massive, detailed narrative based on the devastating title, J-Hope left BTS last Tuesday. This is the note he really wrote. Prepare for a 3-hour journey into sacrifice, silence, and the cost of maintaining a public smile. The official news was clinical, brief, and utterly unconvincing, due to necessary restructuring and a desire to pursue deeply individual artistic endeavors. J-Hope, our beloved member, will be taking an indefinite hiatus from group activities, effective immediately. But here, in the world of fishy fiction, we know the truth is always more complex, more personal, and infinitely more painful. J-Hope, Young Hoseok, did not leave because he needed a solo break. He left because he was the emotional anchor of BTS, and anchors, when the ship is stable, are the first to be discarded, or, in his case, the first to realize their continued presence creates a dependency the others can no longer afford. The departure didn't happen in a fit of rage or a dramatic confrontation. It happened slowly, over 2 years, in the quiet, shared spaces of their lives. It began in late 2023. J-Hope, whose defining feature is his radiant, constant optimism, began to experience what we will call emotional compression. The world saw his sunshine, but his role within the group had subtly shifted. RM was the leader and the brain, Suga, the protective foundation, Jin, the comedian and stabilizer, Jimin and Jungkook, the global performance powerhouses, V, the artistic soul. J-Hope was the emotional regulator, the one who absorbed the stress, deflected the conflicts, and instantly boosted the energy of any room, sacrificing his own emotional climate to ensure the health of the collective. But the cost was silence. His role didn't allow for his own pain or doubt. The symbol of hope cannot appear hopeless. The turning point came when he began writing his solo album, a project meant to be a release, but which became a reflection of his hidden sorrow. The music he was naturally producing was dark, complex, and full of anxiety, the exact opposite of the hope persona the company, and the world, expected. The agency, upon hearing the demo tracks, was horrified. They saw a risk to the brand, a dissonance with the hope identity that was too valuable to lose. They subtly pressured him to rewrite, to brighten the sound, to ensure the continuity of the public narrative. This corporate censoring of his truth felt like an emotional suffocation. He realized that the symbol was more important than the man. The physical manifestation of this pressure appeared in a crippling, recurring anxiety that struck him right before major live broadcasts. He wouldn't panic openly, but he would become intensely rigid, his breathing shallow, his usual infectious spontaneity replaced by a strained, forced energy. He was living on the razor's edge of an emotional collapse, desperately maintaining the mask of sunshine. The real, final decision was catalyzed by a heartbreaking private conversation with Jimin. Jimin, whose own struggles with self-worth and pressure had been relentless, confided in J-Hope one sleepless night that the only reason he pushed through the hardest days was because he knew J-Hope would always be there, radiating strength, always reminding him that he was loved and valuable. In that moment, J-Hope realized he had become a necessary dependency for his brother's mental stability. His presence, his relentless hope, was masking their own individual need to find their separate, internal strength. He was preventing them from learning how to stand alone. The logic was brutal, terrifying, and deeply sacrificial. For them to truly grow, to truly become independent men, the anchor had to be removed. The symbol of collective hope had to disappear, forcing them to find that hope within themselves. It was an act of profound, agonizing love. Last Tuesday, the decision was executed with chilling composure. J-Hope called an emergency meeting, not with the managers, but with the 6 members. He didn't cry. He didn't shout. He sat them down in their old practice room, the sacred space where the 7 of them had started, and explained his decision in a calm, clear voice that shook them to their core. He spoke about the weight of the HYBE symbol, about the necessity of change, and about the deep love that was forcing him to leave. The agency fought the decision for 48 hours. They threatened lawsuits, brand damage, and global chaos. J-Hope remained resolute. He had carefully drafted the terms of his exit, using his own accrued intellectual property rights as leverage to ensure the agency could not retaliate against the remaining 6. He was willing to walk away with nothing just to protect them. The agency finally agreed, forced to accept his terms and release the vague, anemic statement that the world heard. But the real farewell was the note, a simple, folded piece of paper he left on the piano bench in the shared studio, a note only his 6 brothers would ever see. This is the long, complete, devastating note J-Hope really wrote. My dearest Namjoon, Seokjin-hyung, Yoongi-hyung, Jimin, Taeyong, and my precious Jungkooki, if you are reading this, the silence is already upon us, and I have successfully become a ghost. I know the announcement was a corporate lie, a polite veneer of necessity, but the truth is contained entirely within this room, within the 7 of us. And the truth is, I'm leaving because I love you too much to stay. My role, my sacred duty, was always to be the sun. To absorb the shadows, to deflect the storms, to ensure that the air you breathed was always bright and encouraging. For years, the hope was real, fueled by my belief in us, my conviction that as long as I smiled, the structure wouldn't break. I have no regrets about carrying that weight, it was my honor. But anchors, my brothers, are meant to be temporary. A ship should learn to brave the waves on its own engine. I have watched you grow into giants, into men of incredible inner strength, yet I see the way you still look to me when the camera turns off, when the pressure mounts, when the fear of the next step is too heavy. I see how my relentless optimism allows you to postpone finding your own source of light. My light, my constant, unwavering presence, has become a beautiful, necessary mask that prevents you from realizing you don't need it anymore. You look at me for hope, but I need you to look inside yourselves and realize the hope is already there, deep and immovable. Jimin, my heart ached when you told me you were only able to push through because you knew I was waiting at the finish line with a smile. I realized then that my presence had become a crutch, and I cannot be the reason you rely on external validation to define your worth. You are magnificent, strong, and your light is softer, deeper, and more lasting than mine. You no longer need my encouragement, you need to trust the brilliance you already possess. This is my last encouragement to you, stand up, alone, and see the strength that is only yours. Yoongi-hyung, my producer, my protector. You always saw the truth behind the noise. You are the foundation, the structure that holds us. You understand the necessity of dismantling something old to build something new. When I am gone, you will be forced to use your voice not just for defense, but for healing. I am stepping out of the line so your wisdom can take the central space it deserves. Do not write music about sorrow, write about the strength of silence. Namjoon, my leader, my burden. The pressure you carry is inhumane. I am removing myself so that you can focus only on the 5 who remain. My constant maintenance required a piece of your attention, a tax on your leadership. I need you to lead them now, not as the sun, but as the atmosphere, the structure that contains and guides their separate lights. I am not abandoning you, I am lightening your load. To all of you, my eternal family, I have not lost my hope. I have simply transferred its address. It no longer lives in my public smile, it lives in the fact that I believe you can survive this change, this earthquake, and emerge stronger. If you can move forward, 7 hearts strong even when one piece is missing, then my hope will be proven eternal. I promise this is not an end. It is a metamorphosis. I must find out who Young Hoseok is when he is not responsible for the happiness of the entire world. I need to write the dark song, the true song, so I can return to you one day, whole, not just a half-truth of sunshine. Do not follow me. Do not stop. Do not let the gap be silent. Fill it with your own beautiful, individual truths. My final gift to you is the space I leave behind. Use it to grow. I love you, all 6 of you, more than I love the stage. And that is why I had to go. With endless love and eternal belief, your hope, your HYBE, Hoseok. The remaining 6 members found the note exactly where he left it. The silence in the studio was heavier than any thunder. The initial shock turned not into anger, but into a profound, painful realization of the depth of his sacrifice. The note was not an apology, it was a mandate for growth. In the weeks that followed, the group experienced a painful fragmentation. They had to collectively, and individually, mourn the loss of their emotional regulator. The atmosphere was heavy, tense, and forced them into conversations they had avoided for years. They began to notice the small things, how much of their positive framing came from HYBE, how many small conflicts he quietly diffused, how often he was the only one laughing when things went wrong. The greatest challenge fell to Jungkook, who, having always relied on J-Hope's boundless encouragement, felt the absence most acutely. He struggled to find the energy for his solo work, feeling a genuine vacuum where constant validation used to reside. He realized that J-Hope's note was a direct command: find your own voice, find your own light. This struggle pushed him into a deeper, more solitary artistic space, forcing him to produce work that was raw, authentic, and born from personal struggle, not external encouragement. The long-term impact of J-Hope's departure, spurred by that single, devastating note, forced the entire structure of the group to redefine itself. They learned to communicate their pain openly, replacing J-Hope's role with a collective commitment to vulnerability. They moved forward, 6 strong, carrying the weight of his sacrifice, knowing that the symbol of hope had chosen to die so that the truth of 7 individual men could finally live. The note remains their silent constitution, a constant reminder that sometimes, the greatest act of love is the courage to walk away. This is the truth behind the hiatus, the full story of the note he left, and the enduring pain of the hope that stepped away.